My name is Estelle Craeford, and as the president of the Pines of Sarasota Foundation, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our 6th annual Wit and Wisdom Luncheon. The honorary chair of today's event is Betty Schoenbaum. Now, I am certain that you will agree with me that Betty, at age 98, represents the epitome of wit and wisdom. Now, there are a number of things that Betty's famous for, but one of them is her heart-to-heart hugs. Well, thank you, Betty Huggers. And now I would like to invite the 2 co-chairs who have been working diligently to make this event the fantastic success it is, Jane Hunder and Marilyn Schumann.
Thank you all for being here today. It's really a privilege to stand here, something I never thought would really be happening. Thank you, Estelle, so much, and everyone for joining us. And today, I would just like to begin to recognize a few people. Is that better? A few people who are very special to us. First of all, our brand new, not so new any longer, CEO, David Sylvester, and Estelle Craeford. Estelle Craeford, you met earlier, who is president of Pines of Sarasota Foundation. Craig Coach, who is our chairman of our Pines of Sarasota Operating Board. Craig. And Eddie Morton and Jim Rutledge, who are co-chairs of the Pines of Sarasota Foundation Board. Thank you all. And I'd like to ask any and all of our board members who are present today to please stand so we can thank them. I'd like to also thank our very special platinum sponsors today, Synovus Bank and Marilyn Schumann. Thank you. And a big thank you to 3 very special people who have helped us tremendously through their radio and TV ads and our video clips and such, all of them becoming strong voices for Pines. One of our panelists, Dickie Smothers, was one of the backup voices on the TV and radio ads. And of course, Betty Schoenbaum was one of our very first panelists many years ago when we started these events. And Barbara Beatty, who is the face of Pines on the video with her mom, Jenny. So thank you all, 3 special people. And now I think Marilyn's going to join me at the podium.
Thank you. I requested a step-up stool here because you would never see me if I was on the podium without it. But anyway, thank you, Jane. Thank you all. And I would like to add a special shout out to the Ray K Family Foundation. And Bruce, I think, is at table 19. Thank you. And to the Goldsteins, Al and Jane, for their amazing and generous support, and most appreciated. Thank you. And now we'd like to thank our gold sponsors. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to give you this. This is in the way. Thank you. I'd like to thank our gold sponsors, and please hold your applause until all are acknowledged. Jim and Jane Hunder, Betty Schoenbaum, Sunset Automotive, and Willis and Smith Construction. And we'd like to thank and are grateful to all of our sponsors who are listed in your program today. And at this time, I'd also like to introduce some of our special dignitaries. Please stand as I call your name, and again, please hold your applause. Vice Mayor Suzanne Atwell, City Commissioner Liz Alpert, and City Commissioner Susan Chapman. Thank you very much. And now, would our wonderful committee members please stand, who worked tirelessly for a very long time with us and made Jane and our job, my job, so much easier. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful support. And now, with your indulgence, just another moment to share with you. A few weeks ago, I received a phone call from a friend of mine, Ruth Engman, regarding a friend of hers, Henrietta Dates. Henrietta is now at the Pines in the Goldstein Pavilion getting physical therapy. Henrietta is a widow. She has 2 daughters, both of whom live up north. And Ruth asked me, since I am at the Pines on occasion, would I mind stopping in and saying hello to Henrietta? Which I did, and I was so happy to do so. Henrietta was absolutely delightful. She was articulate, very alert, and we had a lively visit. She told me she was so pleased with the therapy and with the care at the Pines, and she also was so beautifully groomed and even made up. So, why am I telling you this? Henrietta Dates is 103 years old. Yeah. Her 2 daughters who live up north, one is 80 and one is in her 70s. Pines is caring for her. Our Pines is here for all seniors, 60 years of age, to the Henriettas in our community, no matter what the stage of aging is with them. And more of people, men and women like Henrietta, will be coming to the Pines. And ladies and gentlemen, more and more of us will be getting physical therapy at 100 years or more, God willing. So, for the Pines, this is the future. But ladies and gentlemen, the future is now. Thank you.
As many of you know, Pines has a legacy of 67 years. And today we celebrate that legacy with a few very significant and new additions. We celebrate our brand refresh, which has just been completed and rolled out, giving us a fresh new look. I sure hope you've noticed it on lots of our publications. And we celebrate the future as our new CEO, David Sylvester, took the helm back in July 1st of this year. And we also celebrate David's vision as we continue to move forward and continue striving to provide the best of the best care for our residents. We can also celebrate the exciting growth of our Education Institute under the leadership of Joanne Westbrook. The Institute is now selling educational and training DVDs in the area of memory care. Yes, and they're in 31 countries. We are international. We are around the world. Yay, Joanne. Now, I have been involved with the Pines mission for many, many years, and I've experienced numerous heartwarming moments. And so today I would like to share with you my personal story. One morning I received an email from an old friend asking me if I knew anything about the Pines. Well, of course, I gave a resounding yes. And he shared with me at that time that his dear friend and former New York Islander hockey coach, Al Arbor, was a recent resident dealing with health and memory care issues. I was stunned, as I had met Coach Arbor many, many years ago when he coached what I call my team, a very strong, well-respected man who was loved by so many people. I was really saddened to learn of his health struggles and memory issues, so I went to visit him. On my first visit, just to say hello, I didn't quite know what I was going to say. And the first thing that popped into my brain was, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" Well, he smiled and his eyes lit up, and I could see the pride that he felt still being referred to as Coach. After a few minutes and a brief conversation, I said goodbye and I promised I would return with a gift. Well, I did return with a team calendar. I didn't know what to expect on this visit either. And as his memory issues and his ability to communicate were very, very difficult. But as soon as he saw the cover, he just looked right at the cover of this calendar and he smiled and he said, "My team." Something in the recesses of his mind provided the ability to remember what a special moment that was for him in his life in the past and even now, today. It was pretty special for me as well to share in that moment. He then proceeded to turn the pages of this little book, one by one, naming each of his players. The joy on his face and the twinkle in his eyes was truly a gift that I will treasure forever. During those 8 months, I came to know his lovely wife, Claire, and we've become wonderful friends. We've also seen each other occasionally, and that tie goes on. Now, one might wonder what I have learned through this and other experiences. I've learned that small moments become big moments, that the smallest twinkle in an eye is to be celebrated. I've learned that family members with loved ones having health and memory care issues are not alone. Although not personally connected, they form their own Pines family, providing each other with additional support and unconditional love, which is critical and truly a lifeline for each other. I've learned that our staff is extraordinary in the extension of their care, their heartfelt smiles, and their love. Even there's laughter, believe it or not. So all of us, they all celebrate life. So today, in honor of our residents and their families, with truly a grateful heart, I say thank you to you, all of you, our supporters, as you help us to continue to celebrate Pines and all that it gives to our community. So thank you. And now, while you continue eating, we are going to roll our video, I believe.
The Pines of Sarasota allowed me to sleep at night for 5 years. You know why? Because my mom had to go to the Pines later on in life. She was not only cared for, but cared about by the best staff I have ever encountered.
Pines of Sarasota, a not-for-profit rehabilitation and senior care community, provides our residents and patients the confidence of knowing that they will always be secure, well cared for, and welcomed.
Well, I feel very proud to be associated with the Pines of Sarasota. It's not only its compassionate care that's given here, it's the innovative and forward thinking that the Pines of Sarasota has going forward.
Pines of Sarasota has been a pioneer in rehabilitation and nursing care and is dedicated to setting best practices and standards in compassionate care in the community.
Pines of Sarasota provides a peace of mind that is priceless.
My parents have been residents at the Pines now for close to 5 years. People have asked me how have they done here. They have done much more than survive. They have thrived here. I'm a physician, and I can tell you there's no place that I'd rather see my parents at than Pines of Sarasota.
All the caregivers and the staff, many have been here for more than 10 and 15 years, and even when Brad and I visit, it feels like home, doesn't it?
It sure does.
From our highly skilled therapists and nurses to the region's most innovative modalities, we offer hope and compassion on your journey to recovery.
3.5 years ago, I suffered a pretty bad motorcycle accident. I was in a coma for 7 days. My life was in question. When I got here, I was paraplegic to now I have a full life. I stumble a bit, but I play golf, I drive, I can walk around. I've given up my wheelchair, my cane, my crutches. I can't say enough about the compassion, the passion that the Pines has for people like myself.
Here at the Pines at Sarasota Rehab Department, we work with interdisciplinary team, and our focus is to individualize the treatment program. The goal is for them to get back to their prior level of function, back to their home, and back to the community with the highest level of safety and comfort.
As the administrator here at Pines of Sarasota, I am lucky enough to have the staff that work hard to earn the trust of our residents and short-term rehab patients.
My mom has been a resident here since May 19th of this year, and when she was admitted here, actually the doctors didn't give me much hope. Mom was pretty sick in the beginning. Within 3 to 4 weeks, my mother was up and walking with her walker, talking, she knew everybody. It was nothing short of amazing.
Of a miracle, you mean?
There is no way I would ever be able to say thank you for this, because
I'm here.
she's here, and this is all a gift.
Pines of Sarasota is known as a pioneer in the region with the first skilled nursing care, the first assisted living facility, and now we are focused on the development of the 8.5 acres adjacent to our campus, the expansion of the Ready and Steady Plan for Better Balance program with a free screening in our outpatient facility to address the epidemic of preventable falls, a focus on providing a fully integrated continuum of post-acute care services, and last but not least, our exciting initiative to expand our world-renowned Education and Training Institute, which provides essential training for professional and at-home caregivers in over 30 countries. We will seek community input as we continue to broaden our service offerings to meet the continuing needs of the community.
Well, now you've met many of our Pines team and have a sense of the impact that we have on our residents and their families. You've now heard of some of their future initiatives, and that's why here at the Foundation, we have the best job of all. We have the honor of working with caring and generous men and women to raise funds to ensure that Pines of Sarasota will be here not just for today, but for years and years to come.
If you and your loved ones believe life should be filled with purpose, joy, and camaraderie, if you want the kindest yet most advanced care available, you will choose Pines of Sarasota.
I know in the years to come, I will also need the Pines of Sarasota. I know I will be in the best of hands.
So I get to stand on the box too, and I feel really tall. So my name is David Sylvester, and I wanted to say that this event was the very first thing that I did this time last year to start my career at Pines of Sarasota. So I can't tell you how pleased I am to be back and see all of you. Thank you very much for your support. I'd also like to recognize Herschel Kaywood, who's our administrator at the skilled nursing facility. Herschel has been with us since May and is doing a fabulous job. And then I wanted to spend just a minute talking about our Education Institute. We were fortunate enough to be selected from 125 nonprofit organizations in Sarasota to receive matching funds from the Patterson Foundation to help create a comprehensive business plan and grow our outreach to people in the community and people in facilities who are working with individuals struggling with dementia. We're in 31 countries, as was mentioned before, and we have a blueprint now to grow this from first responders to family members to individuals and how they provide personal care. It really is a benefit and a service to the caregivers who deal with individuals with dementia. And Joanne Westbrook is here, our director of the Institute. And at this moment, I'd like to turn it over to Estelle, and thank you all very much again.
And David, this is one of my most exciting parts, and that is to share with you that the Patterson Foundation has issued a dollar-for-dollar challenge grant for up to $59,000 that we can raise between now and year end. So I'm going to ask for you to consider to complete the envelope that's in your program book and help us to make a difference in the lives of so many families who have or soon will have to deal with this issue. Thanks so much, and enjoy your lunch.
Good afternoon, I'm Ray Collins, and I'm not going to use that box, thanks to my parents. Great to be here for a third year. It's my honor to be here because every year I get to meet these interesting people. I'm not talking about the wait staff. These three I've had a chance to get to know the past couple of weeks, and they've got some great stories, so I don't want to waste too much time so we can get to more questions and answers. There's no teleprompter, so we can't go too long here, Dickie.
Did you hear that, Dickie?
Wait a minute.
Did you hear that?
You're going to meet Florence and Richard and Geraldine, and by the end you'll know why we call them Flori and Dickie and Jerry. An entrepreneur, an entertainer, and a philanthropist. And before we get to know them, I understand that Jerry has a quick announcement to make about the Pines. And use your microphone right there.
I was going to get down. Okay.
Get really close. Swallow it.
I was so pleased to hear that the Patterson Foundation has made a challenge grant to the Pines of $59,000. And I was so moved by it that I decided that I would match it by half. And here I have.
Wow.
It's such a delight to be able to support this fabulous organization, and I have confidence in and great hopes for everything that you do at the Pines. This is for you.
Thank you, Jerry. And here comes Estelle. She's running. Don't change your mind, she said. To the far right, an entrepreneur in the cosmetics industry. Her impact on the beauty business has been revolutionary. Please welcome Flori Roberts. Actor, comedian, composer, and musician. He is best known for being half of the Smothers brothers with his older brother, Tom. Dickie Smothers.
Thank you.
From community activist to philanthropist, she's on several local boards and has a passion for giving back. Please welcome Jerry Aaron. Flori, you were a little girl in Brooklyn with a dream. I wanted to be an actress. You were in every school play. Rode the subways at age 10. Broke, but mother always found $1 to get elocution lessons. Fell in love with Broadway. Went to Carnegie Mellon Drama School in Pittsburgh. Your friend Ken Welsh wrote Carol Burnett's material, and he encouraged you. In fact, you replaced Carol Channing and toured for a year. Was it Gentlemen Prefer Blondes?
No, it was Lend an Ear, a review.
I've heard both. I want to get that clear. Lend an ear.
Yes.
So much is formed in our first few years in life. You were a little girl in Brooklyn with a dream. You've done so much. How did those defining years shape you?
Well, I guess that I really don't know why I always wanted to be in business for myself, but after I replaced Carol Channing and toured and was on Broadway, I realized that it didn't always happen like that you had to grovel a lot. And I figured, no, that was not for me, but I wanted to start a business. I wanted to come up with something original.
I wanted it to be mine. Now you have to realize that entrepreneur was not a buzzword when I started that many years ago. It was certainly not what my mother dreamed of. She dreamed of, you know, get married, have the kids, do all of that. But I wanted to do something different. And I did. I started the first cosmetic line for African American women. But I also did something else. I made one of the wisest decisions I ever made, and I recommend this for women who want to have a career. I picked the greatest man. I found the husband who absolutely was proud of everything I wanted to do and shared it with me. And so together we were able to start this business. I had no idea where it would go, what it would do. I just knew that I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to leave, you know, the little girl from Brooklyn. And I always say, if the little girl from Brooklyn can make it big in black cosmetics, anyone can go into business.
All right, Richard Smothers.
That was terrific.
For our next panelist, World War II played a huge role as a young boy, the son of Ruth, a homemaker, and son of Thomas Smothers, an Army officer, born in New York, but quickly went to the Philippines with his parents, and his father was a prisoner of war who was killed in 1945. You were just 6 years old. How'd that all define you?
Major, major. There's so many things that we don't have control over in our lives. Wars, pestilence, disease, bad luck, you know, and Dad being taken away from us. Actually, we didn't see him. We were evacuated in 1941 and grew up in Southern California with our mother. And had Dad come back, we would have settled in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's where he grew up. He was a West Pointer, class of 29. And we would have done the conventional thing. But without Dad, it was just Tom and Dick and Mom. And Tommy and I began to rely on ourselves together. And it's what really shaped our career. I think of sometimes the dandelion seeds blowing in the wind, and some of them land in some horse manure, and some land in a blacktop. Some don't grow, some flourish. It was those situations out of our control that got Tommy and I close enough together so we could work together. And Faith put us in the mid-60s and gave us a spot on television where our defects were wanted. We were two guys that didn't get a first language. We say English is our second language, and they say, "What's your first one?" We said, "We didn't get any." And so if you're sort of cute and you're defective, they throw money at you, and you become very successful. But it's beyond our wildest dreams. It's like you say, the little girl from Brooklyn. It's like mommy's two little boys just sing and argue, and we became meaningful in this country. And we didn't do it to be meaningful. We did it because we loved what we were doing. And it just took us on a wonderful ride and eventually brought me here to the greatest place I could ever live right now, Sarasota, Florida.
Glad to have you here. A little girl from Philadelphia. Father was a City Hall political reporter, Philadelphia Record he worked for. He was very liberal and very poor, she says. He made speeches, he helped organizations. He was your first inspiration. He lost his job since the owner closed the newspaper. Your father walked the picket line, and you stayed with him. Sat on the curb, eating lunch. Very scary time during the Depression. But your family shielded you from the Depression. One pair of shoes, got used to having very little. You didn't know people had more than you had. As a child, at 10 years old, you organized groups to pass out Thanksgiving turkeys to others underprivileged in the Philadelphia area. How did those years shape you, Jerry?
I guess that was an early beginning, and I think that my family was very loving and very helpful, did not ever let me know that we were really poor. I had no idea. I thought everybody only had one pair of shoes. Well, I think that I developed my interest in people and organizations from that very early stage. But I also, I'm going to steal something from Dickie right now. My father was fabulous, and he did love me. I was his favorite. My sister was my mother's favorite, and So that's my story about my family. But I think as I grew up, I felt very compelled to do good things, and I don't know why, but everything seemed to fall into place. And I did a lot of marching with groups that were rebelling against some of the inequities in our country, in our life. One of them was with the ERA, which was the Equal Rights Amendment, with Gloria Steinem, one of my models, and another one was marching with the United Farm Workers and Cesar Chavez, who was absolutely my mentor. From then on, you may know some of the things that I've done, and I will tell you more if you want to know later on.
Flori, you've had so much success, and you come back to one mantra. We talked on the phone last week extensively, and you said, to be a success in this world, you must have a hard head. You can't take anything personally. That's how you succeed. Do you want to expound on that?
Well, I think I was talking about especially being in your own business, because everyone doesn't always believe in your dream. The other line I did was Dermablend, which became very well known for covering everything from scars and birthmarks to blemishes. And it was a very hard thing to get that in the stores. Believe it or not, they said things like, we don't want freaks at the counters. And so we went in backwards. We went in through the dermatologists, and one of their clients loved the product. And her name happened to be Ann Landers.
That helps. That helps.
And believe it or not, Ann Landers put it in her column, and the doors were burned down at the department stores.
Yeah.
We got in everywhere. And she became a friend for life. But I just have to say one moment, because I really mean this. I became such a proponent for women and what their abilities were and how they could do anything. I'm so busy telling my granddaughters that I have to say it's a special pleasure to be on this panel with Jerry Aaron and to honor a Betty Schoenbaum and you, Dickie, as well, because I got my PhD in philanthropy when I came to Sarasota and met these women. They set the bar high. There are so many of you in this room. And I think that when Estelle asked me to be on this panel, one of the things that really made me want to be here and support the Pines was, you know what, we're living longer. And we very often outlive our finances. And if you're at the Pines, they will never throw you out. You have a safe place. If you live to the wonderful age of 100, and you're not as blessed as we are to have the money to live in comfort. So, by the way, I have done, because I've done a lot of seminars for women again, sorry, Dickie, and I do have my Robert's Rules of Aging, which I would be very happy to share with any of you who might want a copy. And one of the first ones is, if you want wit and you want wisdom, you better laugh a lot, you better wear a lot of makeup, and you better wear ruffles around the neck.
Keep that in mind, Dickie. Good. All right. Dickie, take us back to the moment in California when you and your brother were performing one day in local establishments, and a few weeks later you were a household name. What was it? What did you two do that created such breakthrough success? Trace us back to that.
Yeah, that you have to have a phenomenal sense of timing. That the first timing is out of your control. It's when you're born, where you live, and where you get an opportunity to practice or learn your craft. We were next to San Francisco, San Jose, an hour away. We walked into an open edition in 1959, and at the Purple Onion across the street was the hottest club in the nation, the Hungry Eye. There was Nichols and May, Shelley Berman, Mort Sauls, Jonathan Winters, Lenny Bruce, all these, Professor Irwin Corey, a man that had no material, just timing. He'd stand up there and just do timing. And so we learned, you don't have to, it's not what you say, it's your timing. And all our career, by the way, we have 2 quotable things. Oh yeah? And Mom always liked you best, and it's kept us for 52 years. So our timing was good. I tell you what, we started there, so that we got to learn a craft where there was phenomenal amount of mix of people. Dynamic San Francisco, North Beach. We had no idea we were in the cradle of the most innovative place in the States, and for show business, learn a craft. Second, timing. Working with a first job in New York City, Blue Angel, New York, 1961, January. Pat Harrington Jr. was a headliner, a well-known guy. He was a regular on the Tonight Show starring Jack Parr. And we were an opening act. We were just an opening act. He liked us. He got us on the Jack Parr Show. Timing number 2, get known nationally. St. Ann Landers did it for you. Jack Parr Show did it for us. And he had no idea who we were. All he knew, he didn't like folk singers. And he said that. He said we had a funny name, but it was our name. In fact, as he brought us out, because he was really, if you could remember back, the big question when Jack was on, what's Jack Parr really like? It was, what's he like? He was neurotic. He was wonderful. He was television. He was dynamic. And he wanted to cover his rear end in case we stunk. He had no idea if we were good or bad. So he got us out there to really have the better of us. And he said, come on out. And he said a few little things. His dad was in the war, killed by the Japanese. That's always a laugh getter. And he says, her name is Smothers. I don't like folk singers. Like Burl Ives, he's great. And he said, oh, by the way, what's the difference between hillbilly singers and folk singers? And Tommy just looked at him and said, hillbillies sing higher. It's timing. My brother's timing. It didn't have to make sense. They fell on the floor. He said, well, here they are. And no matter what we did, they loved us. That was our initial thing. He was insecure, and he framed us and presented us so that we couldn't lose. From then on, we were national. We did 35 spots, national spots. We couldn't have done that on our own. That stuff was out of our control. We happened to be in the place at the right time and just did the right thing. And then when we got our television show, everything was in place. I was reading Mandela's story. That man is a simple man. He says, an ordinary man. All he did was the right thing as he saw it. I'm just doing the next right thing. And we thought when we were on television, we were just doing the right thing, the sensible thing, the loving thing, the caring thing. We made a show that was very popular. It was against Bonanza. They put us in a suicide place. You were supposed to fail. CBS failed 6 times in a row. Throw the boys in. It's a quick and dirty show. It's really quick. Just fill the space. And the timing was perfect for us. America wanted young. I look at us now on YouTube, and I love those guys. I had no idea. We were in the forest for the trees. You know, you have to get a few 24 hours on you before you see the forest and the trees. Yeah, a lot of stuff was happening for us, and we just did the right thing from our hearts. We didn't try to create a dissension. We tried to create the next right thing. And I love my brother. It was all my brother's stuff. He became my dad. If my dad had survived, he wouldn't have been my dad. There was something that magic happened between my brother and myself. And we did 52 years together. And he is a man, he's my hero. And I was just the right brother to help him do what he could do. Separately, we wouldn't have done what we did. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful I found sobriety. I'm grateful I found Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm grateful I found Al-Anon. Those programs taught me how to live my life, living my life, deal with the life. And as you get older, if you have a philosophy and a spirituality, we're getting better. I think God takes away certain things and gives us others. Just be aware. I'm aware what He's giving me, and He's given me such blessings. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Jerry, can you think of an incident in your life that really shaped who you are? Something perhaps in your adulthood that might have changed you or altered your paradigm? Is there an incident you can think of at some point in your life that stands out that really changed you?
Very good question. Let me think about that. I can't think of any single thing that changed me. I think that I always knew what I was going to do, although many times my actual life did change. There were many challenges, many accomplishments, and I did do many things. I wasn't always a philanthropist. I didn't have money. I didn't have the ability to give money the way I am now. And although now I think that I'm going to tell you that this is my business. I am a philanthropist. It is a business, and that's what I do, and I'm totally involved in it. However, how I got to this place is probably a little more troublesome, because it really was something that I loved, and I loved people, and I loved doing things for people, but I didn't have any great idea about what I was going to do. I changed my life many times. I started out as a teacher, didn't really like being a teacher. I then decided I was going to be a dancer, so I took a lot of dance classes, and I became a dance teacher. Following that, I had children, and I thought that I better be a good mother, and now I'm a grandmother, and I've had many experiences with family, and many, as I say, challenges also. But I think that my feelings about the family and about the people supersede almost anything else that is going on in my life. So I don't think I answered your question. What was it?
My question was, your husband helped found Comcast Cable. Did you get free HBO?
Oh my God. I'm not telling, but however, HBO was very kind to us. Because we were involved with cable television, we did lots of traveling with HBO, and it really was fun. And one of the places we went was to Jamaica, where we were invited for a business event, but turned into a party. And I remember when the people who worked in the building or in the resort that we were staying asked me where we were coming from, and we said this was HBO. He says, "Oh, HBO, HBO." So that's what I call it, HBO. And yes, I do have HBO.
Flori, you say you are addicted to your cell phone. You're not afraid of technology, and many of your peers might be. Why is it important to stay current, do you think?
Well, I think number one of the important things to keep in your life, whatever it is, it doesn't matter whatever it is, you really have to feel some passion. When our business was sold, and we did sell the business, which allowed me to enjoy the beauty of Sarasota and giving money away for the first time. And when I sold the business, I thought I would lose my identity. I thought, you know, what am I going to do? Who's going to listen to me? And then I decided that I had to get involved with technology because I no longer had anyone to do it for me. And I had to even pay for my own gas. So I had to readjust to life off the business path. But I found out that the most important thing is to keep passion in your life, to be excited. Don't focus on what you can't do. Think of all the wonderful things that you can do and get excited. There is so much, and certainly in this community, it is overflowing. You know, I went to Carnegie Mellon, I was, you know, a drama major, and I found the Oslo. I mean, you're seeing Broadway right here in Sarasota, plus all of the other wonderful arts organizations that we have. So that there was so much to still be excited about, and I thought I might be able to help, that my business experience could be valuable on boards, and to mentor young people, to see that they go to universities and reach their full potential. Because it's great to dream. Jerry did, Dickie did. Where we came from, you had to dream because it wasn't handed to you. So I think, and the thing that I found out is that, you know, old entrepreneurs never fade away. I'm on my third business. It is called Smart Cover, and I have a lovely tote bag filled with products. By the way, they are concealers, so they do hide some of nature's mistakes. And I feel passionate about that. But I think the most wonderful thing is to be able to come before a group of generous people like yourselves, to really watch someone like Jerry continue her life of giving, and Dickie continue his life of entertaining and making people feel good. It's wonderful. So just think that you do need to laugh a lot, and you do need to not realize. I mean, there are days I look in the mirror and I say, who's that old person? But then you just move on. You never grow old. Betty Schoenbaum will be the best example of that. You never grow old as long as you care. And I could point to so many more of you in this room. So the wisdom of aging is something you have to discover yourself. But you know, don't think about it too much. It does happen. Yes, it does happen, but there is so much that experience still means. And as you mentioned, I urge you to become familiar with technology. It's not difficult, and you don't have to use everything. But this is the way the world is staying connected, and you want to be part of it. I mean, my 8-year-old granddaughter, she's the one who set my app up for Uber. So, I mean, I have to at least keep up. So don't fear technology. It is a great friend.
Right.
Just use it for whatever you want.
Dickie, you thought app was an appetizer, right?
I got apps. I'm very technical. You know, can I answer a question?
Okay.
I'll give you something, then you could do the question like Johnny Carson gives the answer.
Karnak, yes.
What keeps me going? What gets me want to get up in the morning? It is putting my place in the position of wanting to learn something I know nothing about. I do that every so often. Right now, I am in the midst of a quest for the last 6-7 years to get on Dancing with the Stars. So I want to be fit. I want to be a great representative of my age group. So I go to dance class twice a week. Sometimes I take privates, and I never leave a class with John. John Motain is my teacher, and he doesn't teach us to follow our teacher. He teaches us the movements of dance. It's walking, it's moving. He puts together a routine so we can practice movement. I never leave a class without being so enthused, and I honestly say every time I leave, John, that's the best class ever. I feel so energized and that I'm learning something new, and it is a great thing for humility. You will never be what you want to be doing that kind of a thing. You know what I mean? It's a journey just like life. You know, life is, we all know it, life, there's no destination. It's a journey, and it's just what we do. How do we make it exciting all the time? We don't. I say for myself, God, I have a boring life. Then I look at all the things that I've done in my life. I put a gratitude list, and learning is right at the top. I didn't want to learn to ride horses in Virginia. I married a woman who was a horse rider. If I wanted to see her, I said, okay, I'm a motor guy. I'm a race car driver, a flyer, a skier. I don't do things where you have to feed it, and then they don't do what you tell them to do. And I learned to ride. I said, I never finished a fox hunt without saying to the hunt guy, that is the best day I've ever had. And I mean it. Every day can be the best day. If it's not a good day right now, start over. You know, you can make it every single time.
So, Jerry, I'll ask you the question I was going to ask Dickie. When CBS first approached you, Dickie and I met about 5 years ago through Liz Bagan. We had a breakfast about a potential project. We just met for the first time. And for the entire hour at Simon's, he was greeting fans and telling stories about the old days. And Liz later said to Dickie, how'd your breakfast go? And he said, he didn't say much. I'm not sure he saw me there. Give where you live, Jerry. Why is that your mantra? Why is it so important to give? And is there a particular cause in Sarasota that you think deserves more attention than it gets?
Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I think that most of the organizations that I'm involved with are very important. And if that's what you want to know, I'm not going to give you one name. I happen to be on 4 boards right now, and that's taking a lot of time. But I also want to give to some of the organizations that I do not get involved with because I love them, like this, the Pines. I went on a tour with Estelle recently, and I was so impressed with what goes on in this organization that I was overwhelmed, so overwhelmed that I just gave them a big check. And, and I thought that that was valuable because this is a fabulous organization. I'm not going to talk any more about it because I think that everybody else has been talking about it, including Flori, and I don't think I have more to add. But I do know there are many other organizations that I feel very close to. I happen to be on I'm on the Sarasota Orchestra Board. I love this orchestra. I think they're absolutely phenomenal. And I have become friendly with some of the members of the orchestra, all young, very smart people. And this is absolutely my gem. It's so fabulous for me to be able to be with them and eat with them and talk to them. I love that. I also am on the JFCS board, and they're amazing too, because they do so much for this city, for this community. AJC, they're going to have an event tonight, and I know you're here, Veronica, and I'm going to be introducing you, so be ready. And I'm also on a board called Tree Foundation. It's Tree, and it's run by a wonderful woman, a biologist, scientist, who is now, she's a Sarasotan, but she's now in San Francisco. But she has been one of my mentors, especially when it comes to the environmental area, which is one of my loves. And I do as much as I can within the environment to prove that we really do have to save the environment for all of us and our children. I'm not going to go on with any more because that's really fine, but I do love many of the organizations in this town, and if I'm not giving to them, I am on their committees, I am a chairman for whatever gala or event is coming up. And so you see my name. And my name is out there.
You do great work for the community. Thank you, Jerry. And thank you to all our panel. That's the fastest half hour I've ever seen. Terry, you've got a Flori's gift basket.
You might draw through the drawing. Oh, yes, this is smart cover, and if you want to know, I will give you personal lessons. I will give you personal lessons how to use it. Marsha Albert.
Smart cover. You didn't get smart cover on that.
Thank you, Dickie. Oh my goodness, he was
cover.
Yes. Marsha Albert.
We're going to get you out of here on time this year, and I could go on for another 4 hours, but thank you for supporting these 3. How about a hand for these 3 panelists?
I wrote in my diary this morning, I'm going to be on the panel, Wit and Wisdom today. I hope I bring one or the other with me. And I never know. Just to, first of all, to be here living in Sarasota at this part of my life. I'll be 77 next month. And there's people that are 85, 90 that will say, Dickie looks like a wreck compared to them. This is a senior community. And Wit and Wisdom is a fundraiser bringing awareness to Pines of Sarasota. It's a nonprofit rehab facility with compassionate care for seniors. I'm one of them. It's like saying, don't promote a disease unless you get it. Well, the thing I'm promoting is it's great to be alive, but we have different issues as we age. There's aging issues. And to have the I tell you what, I'm scared. I got to work with my brother for 52 years, and we were never as witty as a lot of these women. And these seasoned, not seniors, seasoned women I'm with, they're going to be sharp and quick. So I figured if I can't stay up with them, at least they'll see me with my jacket. I'll tell you what, if you take us out of context, we were like kindergarten. You know, you could remember a guy named Lenny Bruce in the old days. Well, there's people doing as blue or dirty material, if you want to call it dirty. Kids doing worse than Lenny, but in Lenny's time slot, in his context, he was brilliant, he was sharp, and he got persecuted for it. All we did was bring social awareness to a family viewing hour, which we thought, what could go wrong? It happened to be 9 o'clock Sunday night, and CBS had never had a live type show that way. They had Studio 90, they had great dramas, but even that, after us came All in the Family. That's after Smothers Brothers on. But you never said Carol O'Connor was a bigot. You said that Archie Bunker. See, but when anybody was on the Smothers Brothers show, because it felt like we were live and we're in your living room, it was, guess what the Smothers Brothers did tonight? It didn't even have to be us. It could be our guests. But we put them on because it helped during that period of time. It was an amazing happening, the 60s and then the late 60s. And we were having civil disobedience out there from middle-class white Americans. The police didn't know how to handle it. The riots at the 68 convention, a Democratic convention. The cops, I went through the Citizens Police Academy here, get awareness of our fantastic police department, Sarasota. Cops were scared. They're human beings. These people get out there with these masses. And now we've come from that. And we got much better awareness on every aspect today. Job's not done. There's a lot to do, but our show was just bringing television a little bit closer to know we could go that way. My brother, guys, God bless him, he's sitting in California, retired, not doing anything. I say, come on out here. You could have an active life out here. And Tommy has a heart as big as anything, and he paid the price. The forerunner, the guy who leads the point when you're going out on the patrol in a war zone, the guy that is the first to get servitude out of professional sports, the guys like Martin Luther King, the people that did the marches. You take the brunt, you take the power, the negativism, and you don't reap the awards, but you maybe in history, you don't do it for history. You do it because it's the right thing to do. We had so much fun. You know what? A lot of times a comic, what they do is if you're really good, you're doing real life exaggerated. We exaggerated our relationship. And the funny thing is, Tommy was the smart one and I'm the dumb one. So it was a character role for me for 52 years. But I had so much, the reason we did it, we had a lot of fun. It was fun. Okay, no, well, it's too big. I would say Will Rogers, and before him, there's always been comedy and satire, but in our medium, we were the first ones really that had a successful show and a family viewing time that had content and was live. There's such a fine nuance between drama and live stuff. And we came from Steve Allen, we came from Jack Parr. All these people helped us, and everybody is moving it a little bit further. And it's we have such gratitude on what we got. Like Pat Paulson was a gift to us from God, and Tommy was the right man to frame him and put him in a position where he was important. And you got people like Jon Stewart and Colbert, and they're saying that's our man, and we're part of the continuum. That's all. The perception was that they couldn't control the Smothers Brothers. They had a fabulously successful network, except for 9 o'clock Sunday night against Bonanza. And we filled that gap for them, and they were in a catch-22. We liked the advertising dollars, but people think we can't control these two guys. They're nothing. So they set it up, they fired us, and we did bring them to court. We won our lawsuit, but they stopped us. And that, I don't resent it. Maybe it's the right thing, but our show was so right. We created the Glenn Campbell show. We had the summer spot. We had the greatest production of live television, variety, is in our stable, and they stopped all that. But maybe they saved our lives, and we're in the hearts and minds of people 40, 50 years later. Yeah, and they came up and they can't thank me enough. They're like you. I'm so embarrassed. Don't do that.
And you shouldn't be.
I would love them. First of all, I'm with two witty, wonderful people. We're in a town that has a lot of seniors that are so well educated, had great lives. They're sophisticated. I hope they say, God, I haven't seen him in a long time, like an uncle that came back after 30 years. God, I miss him. We're gonna go home and YouTube that guy. I want to start a new career. I want to have a new career. I'm interning at ABC at Suncoast View. By the way, I work for free. Those suckers are so cheap. So I'm not going to say I work for free. I'm the intern. I'm the intern. No, I just saw the intern in the movie with De Niro. But anyway, I would like to develop what I've done with my life and how I stay vital and interested. The interesting thing is what keeps you interested in life. Of course your friends are going to pass on. One day I'm going to pass on. They say, boy, that Dickie passed on. I'm going to miss him. Smile and go on with your life. I try to stay physical fit. I used to have a winery. We were taking pictures over. Yeah, I put a plug in the jug 21 years ago. Saved my life. You know, I think God gives you so many gallons to drink and so many outrageous behaviors. And if you don't listen, He's got a surprise for you. So I'm living a heavy life. I've done what I've wanted to do. And now I'd like to, my heart's desire is to get on Dancing with the Stars. And I've been practicing dance, and that may stimulate my brother to get out of his little retirement thing and get out there, get the yo-yo man working again, and then maybe go out and do some concerts, a bit of concerts. I would love to save my brother's life and let him know that there's so many people want to see us at any level, as long as we are professional and we bring them in, you know. Oh, God, I'm not that wise. You see, wisdom, if you read Siddhartha, if you're looking for wisdom, at the end of his quest, you got to find it yourself. My wisdom isn't their wisdom. The things I do to stay healthy, people say, I'd rather die. There's people that say, the way to stay like me is run 15 miles a week. Add 15 years to your life. I said, I don't want to run. I'd rather die 15 years sooner. So I can't say, but I'd say stay energized. The best thing we know, our currency at this age, isn't your retirement fund. It's your people and your healthy time, the people you interrelate to. So stay in the community. That's how I'd say that. And people say, where do you live? I said, I've lived in all the good places. Now I live in where the Amish live down here at Bay Vista. I should have moved there 15 years ago. I got bicycles, I got friends with beards, and I've got everything. And I would say, I keep a smile on people's faces. I don't know why. Maybe I'm an idiot. They say, boy, I'm sure glad I'm not Dickie. Okay, that's good. Just be thankful you're not me.